She said, "Love shouldn't need contracts," and refused to sign a prenup. So I canceled everything quietly. Now she's begging me to forgive her. But I'm already gone. I'm 32, and for the longest time, I truly believed that I had found the woman I was destined to build a life with. Her name is Elise, and she's 27, bright, charismatic, gorgeous, and overflowing with the kind of energy that can light up a room just by walking into it. We'd been together for a little over 2 years when I finally proposed. I had poured my heart into planning the moment because that's just the kind of person I am. Methodical, intentional, and deeply committed. I run a custom furniture business, the kind that demands precision, patience, and perseverance. Every tabletop, every chair, every grain of wood that passes through my hands carries a story, a testament to years of dedication, long nights, and calloused hands. I built it all from scratch. No loans, no wealthy parents giving me a head start. Just pure grit, discipline, and a willingness to outwork every challenge. Elise, in contrast, was a self-proclaimed mindset coach. She had a pretty substantial following on Instagram, about 80,000 followers at last count. Her feed was a carefully curated collection of sunrise yoga, beach photo shoots with inspirational quotes, and filtered selfies with captions like, "Protect your energy," and "You deserve everything you dream about." She occasionally took on clients, but if I'm being honest, most of her time was spent cultivating her image online. I never judged that. We lived in a digital age, and I believed that everyone deserved to find their path. Besides, I loved her. At least I thought I did. When I proposed, she cried like it was the most beautiful thing that had ever happened to her. She threw her arms around me, squeezed me tight, and didn't stop smiling for hours. That very same night, she was already showing me her Pinterest boards for the wedding. Apparently, she'd been planning since our 1-year anniversary. At first, I thought it was endearing, sweet, even. But as the days turned into weeks, her planning took on a whole new life, one that I could barely keep up with financially or emotionally. Within a month, she had booked a venue that looked like a European cathedral, reserved a wedding cake designer who charged nearly $9,000, hired a live harpist and a quartet, and scheduled a bachelorette trip to Greece for 8 of her friends, all of it charged to my card. The total cost was quickly approaching 6 figures, and I was the one paying for every single penny. And honestly, I didn't complain. I was successful. I could afford it, and I was doing it for the woman I believed would be by my side forever. But then, one afternoon over lunch, my accountant, who also happens to be one of my closest friends, gave me a look I couldn't ignore. He didn't say anything at first, just watched as I went over expenses on my tablet, tapping the screen with a furrowed brow. Finally, he asked me point blank, "Have you talked to Elise about a prenup?" And just like that, something in my stomach twisted. I hadn't. I was so caught up in love, in the dream she painted for us, that I hadn't stopped to consider what would happen if things didn't go the way we planned. That evening, I brought it up to Elise as gently as I could. We were sitting on the balcony, watching the sunset, and I said, "Hey, I think we should talk about a prenup. Just something simple to protect what we've each built before the marriage." The look on her face shifted immediately. The warm smile disappeared, replaced by a mix of offense and cold disbelief. "A prenup?" she asked, as if I just spat in her face. "Do you not trust me?" I tried to explain that it wasn't about trust, that it was just a way to ensure that both of us were protected if life took an unexpected turn. But she cut me off. "Love shouldn't need contracts," she said. "If you need me to sign something like that, then maybe you don't actually love me." And with that, she stormed off, leaving me sitting alone in silence. I didn't know what to say. I felt paralyzed between love and logic. The next few days were cold. She barely spoke to me unless it was about the wedding. And even then, her tone was different, sharper, more demanding. She continued spending, booking more vendors, choosing custom linens, hiring a luxury wedding planner who charged by the hour. I watched as my bank accounts thinned, and my heart sank deeper with every swipe of my card. But more than that, something in me shifted. It wasn't just about the money. It was about what her reaction revealed. A willingness to guilt me, to emotionally manipulate me, and to shame me for wanting to protect the life I had spent years building. One night, I sat in my workshop, staring at a half-finished table, and the reality hit me hard. I didn't know who I was marrying anymore. So, I made a decision. Quietly, carefully, without a fight. I started making phone calls, one vendor at a time. I called the venue and canceled. Lost the deposit, but cut the remaining balance. I called the cake designer, the musician, the photographer. One by one, I undid everything Elise had put in place, all behind her back. Then I called the wedding planner and told her that the wedding was off. She asked me if I wanted to inform Elise myself, and I said yes. But I didn't do it right away. I waited. I watched as Elise continued to post online about manifesting a dream marriage, as if everything was picture perfect. I listened as she told friends we were meant to be and boasted about how she manifested a man who would do anything for her. Finally, on the morning she was supposed to fly to Greece for her bachelorette trip, I sat her down. She was wearing a designer dress I bought her, smiling at her phone, taking selfies before the car arrived. I looked her in the eyes and said, "There's not going to be a wedding." At first, she laughed, thought I was joking. But as she noticed the seriousness in my voice, her smile faded. I told her everything, that I'd canceled every vendor, that the planner knew, that the wedding was over, and most importantly, that I was done. I told her I deserved someone who loved me for me, not for the lifestyle I could provide. I said, "You couldn't even sign a simple piece of paper to show me that you were in this for the right reasons." She cried, sobbed actually, begged me to reconsider, said she was just scared, said she never meant to hurt me, said that the prenup was just so cold. She promised to sign anything now, swore that she'd cancel the trip, that she'd delete her social media, that she'd do anything if it meant she didn't lose me. But it was too late. I told her I wished her well, packed a bag, and walked out of the apartment we'd shared. She's been calling, texting, even posting cryptic messages on Instagram about losing her soulmate. Her friends have been reaching out, telling me she's a wreck, but I haven't responded, because the moment she refused to sign that prenup, she showed me who she really was, and I finally had the courage to believe her. I remember sitting across from her one night, the moonlight casting gentle shadows across our living room while she went on about her vision for the ceremony. The flowers, the designer dress, the handwritten vows to be read on a floating dock in the middle of a lake. Her eyes sparkled with excitement, her hands gesturing wildly as she described every detail, down to the scent of the candles she wanted lining the aisle. I just sat there, nodding, trying to match her energy, trying to feel the same joy she did. But in the back of my mind, something was starting to itch. A small, nagging feeling that told me I wasn't building a marriage, I was financing a fairy tale. So gently, carefully, I brought it up. The prenup. I didn't frame it as a lack of trust or a judgment of her character. I framed it as a safety net, a simple agreement that protected us both if life ever took an unexpected turn. And that's when her entire expression changed. The warmth in her eyes turned cold, her smile dropped, and she leaned back like I just spat in her face. "If you need a prenup," she said slowly, "then maybe you don't trust me. And if you don't trust me, then what are we even doing?" I tried to reason with her, explain that trust and preparation weren't opposites, that you can lock your door at night and still love your neighborhood, but she wasn't hearing it. The discussion ended with her storming off, slamming the bedroom door, and posting some vague quote on her Instagram story about trust being more romantic than contracts. That was the moment I knew she wasn't just building a wedding for us. She was building a stage for herself. After that, something inside me shifted. I stopped viewing this wedding as the start of forever and started seeing it as a show. One where I was cast as the quiet, supportive financier and she was the star drenched in white lace and hashtags. The more I observed, the clearer it became. Every vendor she picked was based on their Instagram following, not their work. Every decision was made for aesthetic, not meaning. She didn't want a wedding that reflected us. She wanted one that would trend. And me? I was becoming an accessory to her content strategy. That's when I made my decision. Quietly, methodically, I started canceling everything. I called the venue first, then the photographer, then the caterer. I told them plans had changed. I got partial refunds where I could and ate the losses where I had to. I cleared the wedding fund, moved the money into a separate account, and kept smiling like everything was fine. I knew confrontation would turn into manipulation, and I was done being spun in circles by her emotional acrobatics. Then, 2 weeks before the wedding, I left. I packed my bags, left a letter on the kitchen counter, and walked out. I didn't slam the door. I didn't yell. I didn't try to make a scene. I just walked away. She found the letter that evening. A simple, calm explanation of everything I'd seen, felt, and finally accepted. By morning, my phone was blowing up. Missed calls, voicemails, a flood of texts ranging from rage to desperation. And by that night, she posted a tearful video on her Instagram Live, begging me to call her, saying she was sorry, saying she could change. But it was too late. I had already given everything. My time, my trust, my heart. And when she refused to sign a simple paper meant to protect what I built, I realized she never planned to protect me at all. If you've ever had to choose between protecting yourself and pleasing someone you love, hit that like button, subscribe for more true stories, and always remember, real love should never come with threats or guilt.